these are the pads I'm looking at, starting with over here.
So these are like mini mop pads, aren't they? Really?
Well, there's two sizes. You've got 4" and your 5.5". So your 5.5 for the 125mm plate or 5" plate, and then this for the 3 and 5/8, I think it is, or 3.5" plate. Even though they don't centre perfectly, they're good enough.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So most people are using these pads, Buff and Shine, American-made pads, European foam, yellow heavy cutting, orange medium cutting, green light cutting, and white polishing. You don't need these soft finishing ones. So really you've got a choice of 3 cuts and 1 polish. And that green somewhere in the middle works well. That would have been better to use with the perfect finish on your beamer.
But do you think there's too many options?
Well, you don't need these ones. That's why there is too many options.
What's the difference between heavy polishing pad, light, okay, and then you've got a medium? So really,
yeah, well, these pads alternate. These are open. Okay. These are open cell. Those are closed cell. Those are open cell. Those are closed cell. So you get a little bit more scrape with the open cell. You get a little bit more cooling. You can also have bigger pores on the surface of the pad because they exceed. With the closed cell, they blow up the gas inside what will be like a bathtub full of liquid, and they get to a certain size and they have to stop. When you go beyond that, it will pop, and then you get the open cell. So you tend to find the closed cell cutting pads are a little bit more denser, but the open cell you typically notice a little bit more cut. They're not coarse though; they're quite soft. These are why I'm recommending these, because they're safe for guys at home. I mean, this is the coarsest pad here. So if you ever look at, it's the same foam as the Quantums. If you feel it, it's not an aggressive. Aggressive.
It is definitely stiffer than the white one.
Oh yeah. And it's got wider pores on it and all that sort of stuff. But then you look at what you get with other pad ranges. Look how aggressive that bloody pad is.
That's going to put some nice holograms in.
Well, the pad.
That's a really horrible texture as well. It's not.
Well, it's just massive. It's got massive pores on it. It's blown
really
up. It's
coarse,
stiff,
isn't it? Yeah.
It's stiffer so that you can work harder abrasives without the pad.
But would you say that's more geared towards taking out sanding marks?
You would take out sanding marks with that pad, or if you had really rock hard paint.
That's very,
with deep
very
defects.
aggressive. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I find that pad too aggressive. The next step down is the maroon pad, which is a bit better. But these are all the sort of things you've got to consider, because for guys at home that don't really know what all the different ones are, the danger is you buy these pads and then go in and think, right, I'll use the heavy cutting pad. Yeah. And you've got soft paint, and on very soft paint, that's going to be way too aggressive. So you don't need it. That's why I think the Hex range is probably a good starting point. It's
you can't really go wrong with any of those pads, can you?
Not really. You can fry any pad. You can fry any foam pad. You could argue that these straight wall pads now are not suitable for the long throw machines, so you get more kind of movement that way. And the straight wall, these pads can deform and heat up a little bit more, and you'll see the centres start bulging. So these pads here, a lot of them have got holes in the middle to help cool them. Some of them are designed specifically for the long throw machines, so they'll all be open cell, so any of the cooling that you can get in the machine, like you get with the Roots polishers, will actually go through the pads, keep the surface of the pad cooler as well, but importantly keep the actual this bit cooler, because it's the glue that can fail between here and here. What you don't want to see with a pad is it ever failing there before it's failed here. What you want is slowly for the surface of the pad to delaminate on the outer edge, so that's the bit that gets the hammered. So that's what you should see when your pads start to fail, not it peeling off here.
No, definitely not. But so if you're using that much heat, then
if you generate that much heat, you're doing too long sets, too much pressure, too much aggression,
polish as well,
or your pad is sticking. As soon as the moment your pad starts sticking, if you don't spot it and you keep doing it, you'll cook them in seconds. Doesn't matter what pad it is.
That's nice and soft, isn't
it? It's a finishing pad. It's too soft over edge.
I think I've got one of them.
Clogs.
I've got these. These are the Hex Logic. Whatever one
you've got the yellow. They clog too easily. The finishing pads. So there's no point in cutting them. Nice. So. And then you've got all these pads here, which are all these cone-shaped ones, so that everyone seems to be using these long throw polishers now, you know. So these hold their shape a little bit better.
Do you mean like orbital? Because they're not. That's not a rotary, is it?
It's a dual action polisher, so it orbits and it rotates.
Wow, okay.
Rather than so there's two forms of movement. But you've got keeping the spin going is quite important on them. The difference with these, if you ever put one of these on this long machine, just fire it up off the panel, you'll see it deforming, like where it's being thrown around. So and it actually makes this sort of shape. So this this doesn't sort of deform as much when you use it, holds its shape more.
Better structure. Better like structural integrity.
Yeah, a better shape for actually keeping the pad less, the pad being deformed by the throw of the machine, which is probably better. They can be a little bit more prone to stalling though, this shape, but ultimately I think this is the way to go. And you've got the cooling holes in them, so these were the ones I wanted to explore. So I've got cheap ones that are £2 like 50 a pad if you want to go there from eBay, you know, SPTA pads. Imran's into detailing ones, which are the next cheapest, £6.50 a pad. Then these ShineMate Chinese ones, which are about £8 a pad, I think.
What strange pattern there.
Yeah, you can get them flat. But the tread patterns are less important.
That's also very soft.
It's not, they've got a good range of foam in that.
Oh, yeah, okay, it's not as soft as that.
The only reason I'm not too keen on these is if you buy something that's got the Made in China logo on it, I think it should be half the cost of anything that's made in America or USA. Like, because if, you know, the costs out there are nothing, so if it comes from China, it should be half the price. And the problem with these is they're about £1 cheaper than the Hex Logics, and there are some quality issues with the foam. Look how sort of bulbous that foam is. See what I mean? It's like not even flat. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And then you compare it to the European made
it's not
ones.
cut nicely. That's really.
Yeah, it's well cut. It's well glued. The quality is better. Even the cut on the taping on the foam, this is a bit jagged edged. So the quality isn't there, but you're paying European prices. So that made me kind of rule out these four. So far, my favourites. These ones though, I just think they gouged out too much of the pad.
You've got nothing going on in the centre. So.
No, I mean, most of the work's done on the outside.
Yeah.
Because that's where you'll get more distance with the rotation. But still, with these, you've got the orbit. So if that's been done for cooling, but they've taken away way too much of the pad for me. You've lost over half the surface area.
Absolutely.
So that made me rule these ones out. But the price on those is great. The foam's good on them as well. It's a really good range. With the, again, like the Hex Logics, the most aggressive one isn't too aggressive. Then it gets you down really to three choices: Rupes, Buff and Shine, Eurotech ones, or using the Hex Logic. Problem the Hex Logic, or the Quantum Hex Logic, that's the only size they do. So if you want to pair them up with a small machine, you've got to use the straight walled ones with these, which isn't great. Both these, Rupes and the Buff and Shine, are available all the way down to spot pads that you could use on a little mini tool, you know, or you could even use on a mini rotary if you wanted to. You probably wouldn't use this shape. And all the way up to the 160mm pads, so you've got the complete size range. But you've got to pay more. There's a big jump between the polishing pad. So that's their polishing pad, the yellow, feel that?
Oh yeah,
it's nice. It's a great polishing pad.
I've got to try it.
They're good price as well, actually.
Yeah.
But then you jump up to their next one up, which is their sort of cutting pad.
Oh,
they're green.
That's a lot.
It's
the
so
difference. Oh yeah.
So coarse. It cuts well. Don't get me wrong. You need that cut sometimes, but I almost wish there was something in between those two pads.
But I mean, again, with one of these kind of coarse pads, you know, you're going to have to do a second polish. You're going to have to do a finishing polish.
Yeah. You wouldn't finish.
No.
Yeah, you would not finish with those. So you'd be cutting.
So it's good for a two-stage polish, but for a one-stage, you wouldn't.
It's almost a little bit too aggressive, that green pad though. But it's the same. It's almost the same with the maroon Buff and Shine. But I still think the maroon one is different to that green one.
Okay.
Not much in it. But the blues, the Rupes blue is identical to this Rupes blue. I think they're using the same foam because the yellow feels identical and there's a white Rupes that feels identical. It's just whether this maroon's different. And it comes down to price as well, but I think the Buff and Shine is probably the only one that's giving you the full range, very coarse option if you want it, and then a reasonable cutting option, and then very good polishing options.
So basically, you've got you've got the mini mop range, which is the same steps, yeah. So
yeah, they do them in time. They do even smaller than this, so you can go this size. You can go spot pad up to 80mm pad, up to 125mm pad, and then 160mm pad.
So how much are these then?
Well, I think they're about £12 for the massive ones, maybe a bit cheaper for the others. I've got the prices upstairs. It's expensive. £12's top of market, really.
Well, they better be good then, eh?
They are good, but yeah, when you consider these are
£2, yeah.
£2.50, they are. There's problems with these SPTAs because you've got a very coarse cutting pad. That's
oh yeah.
And then you've got a step down to their polishing pad. It's a massive step down. Again, you've got a whopping great gap where there could be a range of pads in the middle.
Yeah, but
and the backing on these is not as good as well. It doesn't back down. But that's what you get. But it's still, for £2.50, they're better than they should be. I think they're copies of these. These are the American Lake Country pads. You feel the quality of those. They're the highest quality pads out of all of them. They've got different form of foam there, so it's more rigid. So,
yes.
So you get, you know, almost like a different level of, you know.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
It's got like a foundation there to
give
it some strength.
Yeah, and
so it doesn't break down.
And you don't get that separation. You don't get, you know.
Nice.
These are really high quality, but they're not aggressive. Even their most aggressive ones. When you go beyond this, you've got to go to microfiber or wool. So that's what I'm trying to do, is test all these out next, get them on the panels, and then make more notes on them and all that sort of stuff. Then over here, I'm looking at pads more suited to the rotary. I'll tell you what, this Shoal Concepts range of pads is fucking phenomenal. It really is. The only problem is it's bloody expensive. So you've got that white coarse spider pad at the top, which is very similar to this Flex Green one. Then you've got this blue one, which is a really fine one, but feel how stiff it is. It's an unusual pad, that is. That's for cooling. They've got the cuts through them to keep them cool. And then you step down to this purple pad, which is a cutting pad still, but that's a really nice pad for kind of, you could use finishing polishes on that pad as well, on harder paints. Yeah, you could. Even though their finishing pad is this orange one here.
Yeah. Oh wow! I guess that's like that's a very
fine. You wouldn't polish with that.
That's for putting wax,
it's way
on
too
paste
soft.
wax.
Yeah.
Well, liquid wax.
It's so soft. I don't even know why you need the
hollow,
waffle on it, because you're not going to get any heating. It's such a fine pad. This. It's not actually
hollow
part of this range, but it's a separate one. Oh, it is. Well, according to this, it is. But
yeah.
I wouldn't polish with that at all. I don't know what you do.
That would be like
muck spreading. Spread a liquid paste wax or something.
Yeah.
Or a glaze.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The only problem with these pads is they don't do spot pads for the rotary. So all those little tight areas where you want to get in with the extension bars and you don't want to be using pads this big, they don't have an option. So the foam on the Flex, the purples, I mean, you compare the Shoal purple to the Flex purple. It's identical, isn't it?
Pretty much, apart from this one isn't sliced, but yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
it's identical.
They are very similar. Yeah.
So really, and it's the same with the greens. It's the same with the greens. I think it's the same deal. Although you don't have the double foam in there, I think it's the same type of foam. So really, you've got the same capability with the Flex. You don't need these massive ones unless you really, unless you want to. So you start 140mm pads, and then you've got your 80mm spot pads. And then you've got your 40mm spot pads for the 35mm plates, and that's it. And each, there's heavy cutting, medium cutting, orange polishing, red finishing, and that's it. It's really simple. And you've got the Flex plates, so you just pair them all up. Where are they? Oh, I think I've got one of the tools. Yes, you just pair them all up with the Flex plates. You've got a mini Flex plate for these. You've got the 75mm Flex plate for these, and you've got the 125mm Flex plate for those, and you're done. And you know everything's going to be compatible. You've got all the capability you need, and all the sizes you need. And the price is not bad. These are not cheap. These are about 12 quid or 11 quid each, these 125mm ones. These are about 8 quid for two, so they're only 4 quid each. Something like that. I don't know what these are, but they're all right. Flex used to sell these individually of different pads, and they were about 9 quid each. So these are over half the price. So they're not cheap, but there's very few of these on the market, I tell you, and a lot of them are not great. These are well, I've got to run them through their paces, but I know the foam's good. So yes, that's all good.
I'm looking forward to
the video,
seeing the results. Maybe even giving them a try myself. So.
Yeah, and you've got all these over here, Kochi ones. These
are Koch ones?
Yeah, Koch ones, yeah, they do all different sizes.
Oh, well, they are, aren't they?
Yellow.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, they're good price, actually. I think they've just changed their range, Kochi, because they just had this size, and now they've got a full size range in this colour, yellow for heavy cut, orange medium
These are
cut,
really
white
nice.
polishing, black finishing. So it's the same foam as the ones Joe's given me over there. Same, because there's only a finite amount of foam manufacturers. So most of them in Europe, so they're using the same stuff.
Yep.
Hydrotex, force rotation, hybrid powers, the ones you can't get hold of anymore, which I really like.
Okay.
Yeah, all those. The Rupes flats, which I don't like. And then those, I'm going to do a separate video on those because he doesn't sell them yet, so I'm not sure if he's going to. So, but he's sent me a ton of pads, fantastic. And I know the foam's good because it's the same deal with the Koch pads. And you can get, with those, he's done 2 types of pads, just the round rotary ones, and then he's done the cone ones for all of the cone machines, so it's nice and simple. But they're available in every single size, all the way down to spot pads.
So you could stick with one.
So you could just have one manufacturer, and if
Yeah.
you're using rotary, you go with those.
Yeah.
If you're using dual action, you go with those. And if you want more cut, because you could argue that even their most aggressive cutting pad is not that aggressive, is it?
Not really. It's stiff, but it's not coarse.
No, it's quite dense.
It's,
so if you want high cut,
you got some wool going on here.
microfiber.
Oh, microfiber. Okay.
Yeah, so you've got heavy cut microfiber, medium cut microfiber, oh, and finishing microfiber, the fine stuff. Yeah. Problem with those is bloody cleaning them out. And really they're for dual actions, that's it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Very interesting.
So what do you think, Reg? What would you go for in this? Where is he? What's taken your fancy so far?
There's a lot of options, isn't there? I mean, I like the Koch stuff. I don't know. Okay, with polishing pads, it's like you said. There's not that many foam manufacturers.
Yeah.
They all have very similar, design aspects.
It's that getting that range, isn't it?
But the range, I think, what you said about these guys, what are these?
You get all the sizes.
The more
with
stuff.
that.
You get all the sizes.
The thing with the more stuff is the price should be good on it as well. So
Yeah.
price plays a big part. A big part. These shoal pads are fucking incredible. Like,
I mean, I need to try them, but
yeah, get them on the panel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying from the range and look at them.
See, yeah.
That I know that blue pad is going to be awesome. I've played around with them once at the Flex demo day, but I know they're going to be awesome. But it's the price as well. They're not cheap. That's the thing.
No.
So do you try and get your price right down, or do you say I've got a set amount of requirements and I don't care about price? It's matching my requirements. You know what's the important thing? How much you can get them for, or what they offer.
I think it all depends on what you want.
On the
if
person,
you
doesn't it?
if you want to spend the money and invest, your hard-earned money into something you love,
these are perishable items as well.
and you're passionate about polishing your car, or if you're just an enthusiast, then you're probably going to get the best quality stuff.
Well, there's that whole argument as well that the guy doing this for the first time is not gonna understand that maybe this pad here might be too dangerous for him or something like that. Might not be appropriate.
Yeah, but then
so should you simplify? And that's why I'm thinking
the
hex
logic
logic
exactly
for the guys at home. You can't
go wrong with any of these
yellow.
pads.
Even if you pick the yellow and it's soft paint, I've used that to cut all sorts of paint, and I've never had.
I could choose any one of these. I mean, we both know about the white one.
And you can step up safely without having to ever worry about crossing the line. Whereas you do not want to be using that on certain soft paints for sure. Not if you, depending on what you're doing. But
that I'd probably use the orange one.
The orange
with the finishing polish as like an all-in-one.
There's a bit of a step down between the orange and the yellow though.
Really?
I tend to go. They always say the least aggressive first, but I always go for the bloody yellow because it's not an aggressive. Even though if you read the chemical guy's description of it, they make it sound like you should be really cautious with it. But it's just a good cut.
That also depends on what polish you're using. If you're using a heavy cut, then obviously But if you're using a light polish like Sealant's Perfect Finish or anything,
fair amount of cut out perfect finish as well.
Well, yeah, and that should cut pretty quickly.
That would work well on your beam on a rotary.
Well, I might have to get some of those to be honest with you. Give it a try. I tried the white one, didn't really work for me. But then again,
it's a soft polishing pad
with a finishing polish.
You needed more cut.
Yeah. Okay, I need to get myself.
Yeah, I would suggest the yellow.
Give it a try.
You fried?
No. Okay. Whoever smelt it dealt it. Do you know this, John?
Probably true.
You heard it right there, folks. You heard it right there.
Yeah, so that's the dilemma I've got at the moment. I've got to try and go through and I've already put up loads of data on all these pads and all the prices and options and everything. Just shooting footage of them all first, and then I'm going to get them on panels. The problem is, it's mainly the abrasive doing the work. So really, like a lot of things, it's going to come down to bloody value for money and what requirements you've got in terms of capability and coarseness and all that sort of stuff, and size and price. They're going to be the most important things, I think.
Maybe you're right there. Maybe price is more important.
Price is always important.
Because if you're right, it is all about the compound.
The problem with
that's
this,
an applicator. That is an applicator. It's working. If you put no polish on these pads, it's not doing. It's not.
No,
well,
that's the thing. It's the abrasive that does the cutting, it's not the pad. But the thing with this pad game is the problem is you have, like you said, you've got a handful of foam manufacturers. Not very many of them out there that are actually making foam. Then you have that, so they want to sell the pads. You know, they want to sell the pad to pad manufacturers, and you've got your Buff and Shines, your Lake Countries that buy their foam, tell you they buy their foam, that are buying their foam from these guys and then selling the pads. I mean, what are they actually doing? Are the pad manufacturers sticking the backing on them, or is that being?
I'm just putting their brand name on there.
You think the guys that are producing the foam, actually casting it or whatever, would also, because it's been cast for automotive polishing, you think they're also going to put the backing on it and cut it all for you. So is it they buy it in rolls, and then the pad manufacturers do all that? That's the bit I don't know. But then you've got the pad manufacturers like Buff and Shine importing their foam, making pads, let's say, selling them down to brands, like some of the brands featured in this video. So you might have a brand, you know, JML car detailing or JML auto products, then buying from a pad manufacturer and selling to them down to distributors, who are then selling to Joe Public. Or sometimes you might have a national distributor selling to local distributors, selling to Joe Public. At each step of the way, they have to make a margin.
This is true, but from everything I've seen here, no two pads, apart from the cheap ones, you got like the eBay or Chinese ones or whatever they are. They're the only ones that are similar.
Well, the Chinese ones, I think those SPTA guys might be. They're getting their foam from China, I think.
They are, but they're
They might even be making it themselves, and they're selling it direct on eBay, like in a store, and you've cut out virtually every single middleman, so they can give them to you at £2.50 each, including delivery.
Themselves, hence why it's not cut very well.
Yeah, it's not cut very well. You don't have the right technology, you don't have the innovation.
No, all of these pads have slightly different characteristics. So they do
shapes
have different shapes, different sizes, different. Like for example, the pads that have got the other layer, the other. I don't know what you would say.
Sandwich.
The secondary bit of foam.
Yeah, because a bit of cushioning. Yeah, you get.
Yeah, I don't know how that works in practice. If it does anything,
well, it still
but it is a
doesn't change what you're putting on the panel, but it changes how the pad feels. Especially with the softer finishing pads that can flatten out. See, especially these size pads, when you use them, you put the weight of the machine on the pad.
They squish. Yeah.
Yeah, so they come in very handy on those.
Definitely. So that might be interesting to see. How these fare.
But if you're still flattening out the surface of the pad, does it really make that much difference? You've got to hold.
I just think it just widens the contact, the contacts between your foam and the backing plate.
Stronger,
it just because at the end of the day, your backing plate plays a big part in the feel of the pad, doesn't it?
But that's another thing.
Thick free-end backing plate.
Other guys say that
foam.
All of this stuff where you've got tread patterns, diamond shapes, hex logics, cuts, that is all pretty much BS, because a lot of them are just flat pads. You know, how much value is there in all of these design changes, all the curve cutting and cones? There is some for sure, because I can see the effect of the cone pads on the long throw polishers, and I can see why they're all doing that now, and the cooling holes in the middle. But then, really, how much difference does it make? Because having these cuts in there for cooling, because if you over abuse them, it doesn't matter what technology they put in here, and it's not high technology, is it? It's something. You're going to fry the pads anyway. It's harder to do on a rotary actually, but I think it's less important, but it perhaps can play a small role. So this is all the sort of stuff I've got to try and assess.
It's not an easy one, I'll be honest with you.
No.
To differentiate between the different pads.
It's very
given
difficult.
the fact that they are quite similar,
and that's why I almost think I want to do like a cheap option if you're on a budget.
Yeah.
Then like perhaps the creme de la creme regardless of price, and then funnily enough, whatever the creme de la creme is, I might not be using it because I've got a requirement. So I've already I know I've already bought these up because as soon as I used them the first time, and I saw, researched the size range, it was just like, that's going to give me everything I need. So that's the one I'm going for,
Exactly.
But
I think that
seeing these Shell concept ones and this extra blue one in the range, I was thinking, that's nice.
Yeah.
But I need to get some more time with it on the panels as well. But there we go. Yeah, I've got a little soft spot for the Lake Country pads because I think the quality of the foam is amazing, and the Shell concepts as well. Very good.
You're looking forward to getting some testing on the go.
Yeah.
To really see what they can do.
Not really. It's not exciting, Reg.
Yeah.
It's just like sanding, like taking out sanding marks. And
well, you're not going to be sanding, are you? Are you going to be?
I think with the cutting pads, the best way to sort of look at them is because.
Can I help you with that then? Given you
can do, Reg, if you don't.
Are you going to be doing it by hand, or are you going to be doing an orbital DA?
I'll be using these ones on the rotary, and then
no, I mean, as in if you're going to be sanding, how are you?
I'm going to just wet sand by hand.
Okay. Yeah. So what would that be? 1500?
Probably 2000. Yeah,
cool.
It depends. Yeah,
because you can polish down.
With the heavy cutting pads, you might want to even check them to see if they can handle 1000.
You should be able.
It's all time though, Reg, because every time I test a pad, I've got to re-wet sand the panel. I'm going to run out of clear coat.
But what you should do is we can find a little. We need to find another bonnet, and what we will do is we will sand it, the whole bonnet. We will sand the whole bonnet and then Trizac it. So 1500 and then 2000.
Double sand it.
Well, no, because you don't want to.
It
depends what you're trying to do. You're trying to flatten it, the orange peel, and
what I tend to do is I tend to dry sand them because I'm more interested in putting scratches in from all the crap.
Yeah, but some of those scratches need to be reduced for you to be able to compound them out. So what you should do is this is just an idea.
Blaster anything.
This is just an idea. I'm just saying, just sand it, and then go over it with a higher grade for obvious reasons, and then maybe mark it up and do like sections and see which one. How long did this one take on this bit? What's the finish like? I don't know.
It's a good idea. There's so much you can do. There's so many things you can test.
There is, yeah.
But I've got about 30 different types of pads here in different shapes and sizes.
I know, it's not
an easy
about
one. 300 pads sitting on this desk.
But to be fair, a lot of these are just duplicates, so you can.
Well, they're not the same though, are they? That's the thing.
No, I mean, is it like you've got 4 of the same here? So if it does make it look like the percentage.
Oh yeah,
makes it look like
but there's at least 30 or 40 different.
I know it's
different types, isn't there?
It's going to be interesting to see.
Maybe not that many. The thing is, I've got to try and get the video time down as well. Because if I do it properly and test these out properly, the video needs to be bloody 2 hours.
This is true.
Whereas really, to actually for it to work on YouTube, it needs to be less than 10 minutes.
It is.
Which means basically I should do a video, say hello. Those ones are good. Those are good. Those are good. Those are good. Thank you very much for watching. Done. And that'll get more views than if I sit here testing them for 5 weeks or something, and then trying to do something too clever. People will start watching and fall asleep and put something else on.